Welcome back, beautiful souls. Today we're diving deep into January 2026. And I have to tell you, this is not just another January. This is the month that sets the stage for the most transformative year of our lifetime. In this video, I'm going to walk you through January almost day by day. I'm going to be looking at the major transits, aspects, and planetary movements with the exact dates, and I will provide degrees as well in some cases. And then we will be looking at your specific sun sign, so I will break it down what this means in your everyday life, your relationships, or your career, your money, or your spiritual journey. And here's the thing. January ends with one of the rarest planetary ingresses we'll ever experience. Neptune entering Aries for the first time in 165 years. So grab your calendar, take some notes, and let's map out your January 2026 together. Before I go into the day-by-day breakdown, let me give you the overview, because context is everything. January 2026 is what I call a preparation month and a transition month. We begin with all the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Sun in Capricorn, creating this grounded, practical, let's get things done energy. But by the end of the month, Mercury, Venus, and Mars have all shifted into Aquarius, completely transforming the vibe from traditional to revolutionary. And here's what makes this month extraordinary. First, we have Saturn at the very last degrees of Pisces all month long. Saturn moves from 26 degrees to 28 degrees Pisces through January. Saturn had been in Pisces since March 2023, teaching us lessons about spirituality, compassion, boundaries with the formless, and mastering our emotions. January represents the final exam. Whatever spiritual lessons you've been learning since 2023, January is when you demonstrate mastery. In real life, this looks like finally getting or setting healthy boundaries with that energy draining friend or family member. It's finishing that creative or spiritual project you've started years ago. It's realizing you can be compassionate without being a martyr. Second, we have the Neptune also sitting at the very end of Pisces, preparing for its historic shift into Aries on January 26th. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. That's 14 years. For many of you watching this, Neptune has been in Pisces your entire adult life. Neptune in Pisces brought us the rise of social media, filtered reality, increased addiction and escapism, but also massive spiritual awakening, meditation going mainstream, the spiritual but not religious movement. All of that, Neptune in Pisces. On January 26th, Neptune enters Aries for the first time in 165 years. None of us have experienced this. This is once in multiple lifetimes astrology. And third, we have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer all month. Jupiter moves backward from 21 degrees to 17 degrees Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer at its absolute strongest, but it's retrograde, which means the expansion is internal rather than external. This is the month for reviewing your emotional growth, reevaluating home and family matters, and going deeper into what truly makes you feel secure. Fourth, Uranus stations direct on January 30th at 27 degrees Taurus. Uranus has been retrograde since September 2025, asking us to internally review our values, finances, and material security. On January 30th, Uranus starts its preparation for the direct motion, and we can start implementing the changes we've been contemplating. And fifth, Pluto is moving direct through early Aquarius, continuing its 20-year transformation of collective consciousness, technology, and power structures. So that's the setup. Now let's go week by week and day by day. So we begin 2026 with heavy Capricorn energy. The Sun is in Capricorn until the 19th, and all three personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, are in Capricorn at the start of the month. The Sun is here until January 19th. Mercury and Mars, January 20th, January 23rd, and Venus up until January 18th. This is maximum Capricorn energy, ambition, discipline, structure, responsibility, building things that last. Mercury in Capricorn. January 2nd to January 20th. Mercury governs how we think, communicate, learn, and process information. In Capricorn, Mercury is practical, strategic, realistic, and focused on results. So from January 1st, 2nd to January 19th, 20th, your thinking will be goal-oriented and practical, focused on what actually works, strategic about time and resources, and less emotional and more logical. Then Venus is in Capricorn. On January 1st, Venus is already there. It's been there since December. It is now at 11 degrees and moves out of Capricorn by January 17th, January 18th. Venus governs love, relationships, beauty, values, money. In Capricorn, Venus is mature, practical, loyal, and focused on commitment. So your approach to love is more serious and less frivolous. It's focused on long-term potential, appreciating reliability in partners, attracted to mature and accomplished people. And then finally, Mars in Capricorn throughout January up until the 23rd. This is about disciplined action. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It functions at its absolute best here. So Mars in Capricorn is like a seasoned general with a detailed battle plan. It's strategic, disciplined, enduring, ambitious, and unstoppable. So you will have incredible focus on long-term goals, stamina and endurance, strategic thinking, ability to delay gratification for bigger rewards. On January 2nd, there is a full moon in Cancer at 13 degrees. The moon governs our emotions, instincts, subconscious patterns, nurturing needs, sense of safety and security, and how we process feelings. It represents our inner world, our relationship with money, family, our need for comfort, and our emotional responses to life. Full moons specifically bring illumination, culmination, release, and emotional clarity. What was hidden becomes visible, and situations reach their peak. So the first major lunar event of 2026 is this one. This full moon is significant because it's the wolf moon. It's the traditional name for January's full moon. It's conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. It is a big orb though. But Jupiter at 20 degrees Cancer does amplify this energy. It opposes the Sun in Capricorn, so your work, home, public, private, achievement, nurturing tension. Full moons bring things to light, create emotional peaks, and often bring situations to completion. So, in general, what you might experience for all of us would be strong emotions about family or home situations, realizations about what you need to feel emotionally secure, family gatherings or important conversations, home related news or decisions, and heightened intuition and emotional sensitivity. This full moon asks us all, what do you need to feel at home in your own life? So, this full moon in Cancer on January 3rd is at 13 degrees Cancer. So, the Sun is at 13 degrees Capricorn, opposing the Moon at 13 degrees Cancer. Jupiter at 20 degrees Cancer also here conjuncts the Moon within a 7-degree orb. So you will be most effective if you have planets or angles at 11 to 15 degrees Cancer, as the Moon is conjunct those planets. So you can see emotional culmination, family home revelations. If you are 11 to 15 degrees Capricorn, the Sun is conjunct this full moon. So career, public life illuminated there. If you have any planets or angles at 11 to 15 degrees Aries, there is a square now from both the Sun and the Moon, so there will be some tension between independence and family versus career demands. And same for Libra, 11 to 15 degrees, the square from both Sun and the Moon can see some relationship needs versus home work balance challenge there. And if you are anything between 17, 18 degrees to 22 degrees Cancer, Jupiter is also conjunct this full moon for you within a 7-degree orb. So you can see blessings in your home, family, and emotional abundance in general. Now, if you also have planets at between 18 and 22 degrees Cancer specifically, Jupiter is directly conjunct them during this full moon, creating an extra blessing in home, family, and emotional realm. So this can see some beautiful manifestations through family gatherings, home improvement, gifts or opportunities, emotional healing that feels miraculous, family member bringing good news, or feeling abundantly supported and loved. Your home situation can be improving significantly at this date. Pregnancy, if that's your path, it's also possible. Family, financial support, or inheritance in general. For you, Pisces, the full moon in Cancer at 13 degrees is in your 5th house of creativity and romance. So on January 3rd and around this time, your creative projects culminates. Your romantic relationship peaks. Your clarity about joy, and you have clarity about joy and self-expression. Jupiter also blesses here, brings creative success, romantic love, pregnancy announcement, child brings joy. For example, your art project completion and recognition happens during this time, or your relationship becomes serious, or you have a big creative breakthrough. So if we now move on to the second and third week of January, so let's say from the 18th to the 21st of January, that's when the great shift begins. So let's start first with January 18th. There is a new moon in Capricorn. New moons mark fresh starts, new beginnings, intention setting, and planting seeds for the future. When the sun and the moon align in the sky, it creates a powerful portal for manifesting, initiating projects, and committing to new paths. New moons are about potential, possibilities, and consciously choosing what you want to grow in your life over the next lunar cycle. This is extraordinarily significant because 28 degrees Capricorn, it's an anaretic degree. It carries wisdom of entire sign. New moons represent new beginnings. It's the best time to set intentions. And final Capricorn new moon before the sun enters in Aquarius the next day. So set intentions around career goals, long-term legacy, structures and systems, responsibility, authority, achievement. This new moon says to all of us, build something that will last. For you Pisces, the new moon on January 17th is in your 11th house of friendships, groups, community, future vision, and networks. This new moon activates your social and aspirational sector. Whether you're a Pisces rising, building strategic networks, a Pisces sun, finding community aligned with your purpose, or a Pisces moon, seeking belonging, you're committing to connections that support your future vision. This is about choosing your community with intention and setting long-term goals. For example, you can join a professional organization or a mastermind group in your field, committing to attend monthly meetings and actively contribute. You reach out to 5 people in your desired industry for informational interviews, as an example. Or you write out your 5-year or 10-year vision with specific measurable goals. Then identify, say, 3 communities or groups that will support these aims and commit to engaging with them weekly. So this new moon happens at 28 degrees Capricorn. So if you have any planets, Pisces, in your Pisces sun, moon, or ascendant at around 28 degrees, say 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees, you will be feeling this. You will be most impacted by this. Your new moon in your 11th house of community and future. This will definitely see you setting intentions for community involvement, friendships, or future goals. You commit to your vision now. You can be joining an organization, clarifying your 5-year, 10-year vision. You will be committing to community leadership or some sort of involvement. On the same day, on January 18th, Venus enters Aquarius, leaves Capricorn and enters Aquarius. Venus governs love, relationships, attraction, beauty, pleasure, values, money, art, and what brings us joy. It shows how we give and receive affection, what we find beautiful, how we relate to others, and what we value most. Venus represents our capacity for connection, harmony, aesthetics, and the quality of sweetness in life. Basically, everything that makes life worth living. This is a dramatic shift in the energy of love, relationships, and values. So Venus was in Capricorn up to January 17th, when it showed us a serious, committed, practical, traditional, mature way of living. With Venus in Aquarius from January 18th, we become or start seeing a more free-spirited, unconventional, friendship-oriented, independent, and innovative way of life. Practically after January 18th, there is a desire for more freedom in general for all of us in partnerships, attraction to unique people, intellectual connection mattering more than chemistry. Now, for you Pisces, Venus will be, when Venus enters Aquarius, it will be in your 12th house of spirituality, subconscious, hidden solitude, and transcendence. So Venus moves through your hidden realm now on the 18th, starting 18th of January, bringing spiritual love and artistic inspiration. So whether you're a Pisces rising, finding beauty in solitude, a Pisces sun, discovering identity through inner work, or a Pisces moon, emotionally nourished by spiritual practice, this is a time of sacred privacy. Romance may be private, karmic, or unconventional. Creativity flows from the subconscious. For example, you can be drawn to spiritual practices that feel good, meditation with beautiful music, art as a prayer, or nature walks as worship. You might develop feelings for someone unavailable or experience a private soul level connection that doesn't fit conventional relationship categories. Or maybe you spend money on healing, therapy, or retreat experiences. Your dreams become vivid and meaningful. Or you value alone time during this time as much as social connection, finding that solitude recharges you. Creative inspiration comes in quiet moments. And then one day after that, um, on January 19th, Sun will enter Aquarius. As you can see now, almost all planets have moved back from Capricorn into Aquarius. The Sun governs our core identity, the life force, vitality, ego, conscious will, and sense of purpose. It represents who we are in essence, our creative self-expression, and how we shine in the world. The Sun shows what gives us energy, what we are here to become, and the qualities we're developing throughout our lifetime. It's our central organizing principle. It's the I am at the heart of our being. Sun shifts from Capricorn into Aquarius, from traditional to revolutionary. Aquarius Sun energy speaks about innovation, progress, community, individuality, technology, freedom, intellectual stimulation. So Pisces, when the Sun enters Aquarius on the 19th, after a day after Venus entered Aquarius, it joins Venus here in your 12th house of spirituality, subconscious, and hidden matters, and comes here and reinforces everything that we discussed basically about Venus. So if you're a Pisces rising, this transit turns your attention inward to your subconscious, spiritual practices, and behind the scenes activities. You're processing, you're releasing, and preparing for new beginnings rather than taking bold external action. Pisces Sun find their core identity through solitude and introspection, needing time away from the noise to reconnect with deeper truths and intuitive guidance. And Pisces moon seeks emotional healing through rest, meditation, and spiritual exploration, feeling most secure when you honor your need for retreat and make peace with what's ending. For example, you establish a consistent meditation or journaling practice using apps or guided session to explore your subconscious patterns and dreams. You might work with a therapist or spiritual counselor to address hidden fears or self-sabotaging behavior that have been operating under the surface. This is a time for digital detoxes, saying no to social obligations, and spending weekends alone or in nature to recharge. You're also trying to you're tying up loose ends, finishing projects behind the scenes, clearing out old files, or quietly helping others without needing recognition. You're not hiding, you're intentionally creating space for spiritual renewal before your birthday season next month launches you into a totally new cycle. And then on January 20th, we have the golden window for the Saturn Sextile Uranus. This has been active since December, I would say, with a very extended orb, say around 5 degrees orb, September 25th, and it will still going to continue to be felt until February 13th, give or take. But January 20th, it's very exact. The orb, it's very exact. Because Saturn is at 27 degrees is at 27 degrees Pisces, and Uranus is at 27 degrees Taurus. 27 degrees 32 minutes, 27 degrees 38 minutes. Very, very close. This is it. It's exact. Basically, what this represents for all of us is an opportunity for sustainable innovation, practical revolutionary and responsible changes, and structured creativity. So the key question here that we are being asked by this Saturn Sextile Uranus aspect is, what's one significant change I can make that's both revolutionary, Uranus, and responsible, Saturn? Now, Pisces. Saturn is in your first house when it makes its perfect sextile to Uranus, which is in your third house on the 20th of January. So if you're Pisces rising, this sextile connects your personal development with innovative communication. You're making sustainable changes to your identity and self-presentation while revolutionizing how you share ideas and connect locally. Pisces Sun finds identity through authentic self-expression that's both grounded and visionary. Pisces Moon feels emotionally secure when personal growth is communicated clearly and supported by local community connections. For example, you can commit to a personal development practice, therapy, coaching, or physical training during this time, and share what you're learning through writing, teaching, or mentoring others in your community with appropriate boundaries and humility. You might start a blog or newsletter about your growth journey with consistent posting schedule, or you take a communication course that helps you express your evolving identity more clearly. You're making steady progress on becoming your authentic self while finding innovative ways to share your insights, understanding that personal transformation is deepened when communicated thoughtfully to others. Specifically, if you are Pisces, if you are most effective if you have planets or angles at 25-29 degree Pisces, because Saturn is conjunct you, your planets or your sign, your sun, moon or ascendant, which gives very structured spirituality and disciplined dreams. So Pisces with 25-29 degree planets or ascendant Pisces, Saturn is in your first house. Your identity is sextile Uranus in your third house of communication. Personal maturity and self-discipline, your first house, enables now innovative communication and learning, your third house. Who you've become allows you to speak, write, teach, or learn in revolutionary ways, and you are going to feel that if you have these degrees. This is your breakthrough period. Pisces rising, specifically 27 degrees. You've been working on yourself intensely, developing discipline, building identity with Saturn in your first house. Around January 20th, this personal evolution enables communication breakthrough. You start a blog, a podcast. You enroll in innovative education. You speak publicly for the first time, or your voice becomes clear and authentic. The years of self-work with Saturn in your first give you something valuable to communicate, Uranus in your third. Or learning something new, your third house, is possible because you've matured enough to handle it. This is your first house. On January 20th, Mercury enters Aquarius. Mercury governs communication, thinking, learning, information processing. It also governs short trips, siblings, and the exchange of ideas. It represents how our mind works, how we speak and write, how we learn and teach, and how we connect the dots. Mercury is the messenger, the translator, the networker. It's about gathering information, making connections, and expressing what we know. Mercury shifts from Capricorn strategic thinking to Aquarius innovative thinking. So from January 20th until February 7th, Mercury in Aquarius is asking us to think outside the box, to be interested in science and technology, to be direct and authentic communicators, to be inventive problem solvers. Now for you Pisces, Mercury enters your 12th house when it enters Aquarius, of spirituality, subconscious, hidden matters. So if your Pisces rising, Mercury illuminates your subconscious with analytical clarity. You're gaining intellectual insight into dreams, patterns, and spiritual matters that are usually beyond words. Pisces Sun finds mental peace in solitude and processes identity through writing, meditation, or therapy during this time with unusual objectivity. And Pisces Moon feels emotionally secure when you can understand your subconscious patterns intellectually rather than just swimming in them emotionally. For example, you journal about dreams and subconscious patterns with analytical precision, noticing recurring themes and making connection between your inner world and outer life. You might research psychology, spirituality, or consciousness studies. Reading Carl Jung, exploring meditation techniques, or learning about the neuroscience of mystical experiences. Conversations happen more internally now. You're processing privately before sharing publicly. You're organizing behind the scenes work, clearing digital files, finishing projects quietly, or planning your next chapter without announcing it. You have insights about self sabotaging patterns and articulate them clearly in therapy or private reflection. Finally, understanding yourself with intellectual clarity. And now, moving on to the final week of January. Final days. January 23rd is basically from January 23rd to January 26th is the Aquarius conversions and Neptune's historic shift. On January 23rd, it is Mars who enters Aquarius. Mars governs action, drive, energy, passion, anger, desire, assertion, and how we pursue what we want. It represents our warrior spirit, our physical vitality, our courage, competitiveness. Mars shows how we take initiative, how we defend ourselves, how we express anger, and how we channel our willpower. It's the planet of action, motivation, and forward momentum. Pure drive and desire made manifest. So Mars shifts from disciplined Capricorn to rebellious Aquarius. So Mars in Aquarius from January 23rd to March 4th. It's action motivated by ideals, fighting for causes, independent approach to goals, innovation in how you pursue your desires. For all of us, it is a completely transformed vibe from traditional to revolutionary. And now all personal planets are in Aquarius. The Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. For you Pisces, when Mars joins Aquarius, party here on January 23rd, enters again your 12th house, joining Jupiter, Mercury, and the Sun already there. Mars moves through your hidden realm now, driving spiritual action and inner work. So whether you're a Pisces rising preparing for your solar return, a Pisces sun fighting inner demons courageously, or a Pisces moon emotionally compelled to confront the subconscious, you are motivated to work behind the scenes on transformation. External action may be less important than internal revolution or reflection. So, for example, you engage in intensive inner work, starting therapy focused on trauma or patterns, meditating aggressively, like daily practice, even when you don't want to, or journaling your commitment to facing difficult truths. You might feel angry or frustrated without obvious external cause, indicating subconscious material surfacing. You work alone on creative projects, not ready to share yet, and all the planets here support you. You're drawn to spiritual practices that include movement, like yoga, dance, martial arts. You fight for causes anonymously or support others' battles without needing any credit. These are all possible manifestations of Mars in your 12th house of spirituality, subconscious, hidden work, solitude, and transcendence. Also take into account that all the other planets support and are here as well, supporting the same. And now, on January 26th, The Neptune enters Aries. This is a historic game changer. This is a once in 165 years historic event. Now, Neptune. It governs spirituality, dreams, imagination, illusions, compassion, transcendence, surrender, mysticism, and the dissolution of boundaries. It represents our connection to the divine, our capacity for unconditional love, our artistic inspiration, and our desire to merge with something greater than ourselves. Neptune can be both the highest spiritual vision and the deepest delusion. It's where we seek meaning beyond the material world. Neptune enters Aries at 0 degrees for the first time since 1861, 1875. This is a fundamental shift. Until now, Aries was in Pisces, and it was saying dissolve your ego. Well, Neptune in Aries will now say take spiritual action. Neptune in Pisces was saying surrender to the flow. Neptune in Aries is now saying be a warrior for your beliefs. Or Neptune in Pisces was saying we are all one. Neptune in Aries is now saying have courage to pursue your dreams. What January 26 means for all of us, we will all feel something shift, a sudden courage, a calling to fight for a cause, or impatience with passive practices. So Pisces, when Neptune enters Aries, it goes into your second house of money and values on the 26th of January. Neptune transforms your relationship with money and worth now. Whether you're a Pisces rising, discovering spiritual value systems, a Pisces sun, finding identity through inspired resourcefulness, or a Pisces moon, feeling emotionally secure through trusting divine provision while taking action, you're being called to revolutionize how you relate to your material world. The next 13 years teach spiritual economics. For example, you can begin earning money through spiritual or creative work, trusting that doing what you're called to do will be financially supported. You might explore alternative income, teaching, healing, creating, courageously leaving traditional employment. Your self-worth shifts from external validation to internal knowing. You value yourself for your courage and authenticity. Or you spend money on experiences that grow your spirit and support causes that you believe in. You understand that true security comes from trusting yourself to take inspired action, not from hoarding resources out of fear. Specifically, for Pisces, 28 to 30 degrees Pisces, Neptune leaving conjunction is completing a 14-year spiritual chapter for you. So if your Pisces ascendant sun or moon is 28 to 30 degrees, Neptune is leaving your sign after 14 years of total dissolution and spiritual immersion. January 26th marks a rebirth. You're no longer formless, you're taking spiritual form, spiritual action, spiritual leadership. If you have 0 to 2 degrees Pisces planets or angles, Neptune has just passed these degrees. You're in the early integration phase of a 14-year cycle. Specific manifestation for Pisces rising 29 degrees. You emerge from crisis on January 26th. Years of confusion, healing, dissolving old identity, complete. Now you know who you are spiritually and you are ready to act on it. You might finally launch the healing practice, publish the spiritual writing, step into public teaching, or simply move through the world with clarity and purpose that's been absent for over a decade. The mermaid is learning to walk on land. You are embodying spirit in matter. Throughout the entire month of January, Uranus has been a retrograde in Taurus. And at the end of the month, it's starting to prepare for its direct station in Taurus. Uranus governs revolution, innovation, sudden change, awakening, rebellion, independence, technology, and liberation. It represents breakthroughs, genius insights, unconventional thinking, and the drive to break free from limitation. Uranus disrupts the status quo, bringing unexpected events that shake us awake and force evolution. It's the planet of progress, individuality, and a radical authenticity. It change happens suddenly but leads to freedom. Uranus now is at its final degrees in its 7-year journey in Taurus. It's been retrograding since September last year. It's now getting ready to station direct. It will happen exactly at the beginning of February. But that we can start feeling its direct motion effects. And what that will bring is basically a forward movement that it's activating in finances, values, material resources, technology, and lifestyle, which is what Taurus represents. Changes you can now implement, all of us in general, while Uranus is getting ready to move direct, are new jobs, investment strategies, lifestyle changes, and technology upgrades. Now, for you Pisces, Uranus is retrograde in your third house for the month of January. It is retrograde from 20 at around 27 degrees throughout the month. So let's see, what are the possible manifestations for Uranus retrograde in the third house for you during January? Well, this is your communication and learning sector. So there is some internal revolution here in how you communicate, learn, relate to siblings, neighbors, local community. Finalizing communication style changes. The second, Uranus is preparing to turn direct. It will turn direct next month, very early in the month. So when that happens, there are new communication that emerges. For example, you get clarity now on learning style, sibling dynamic understanding, and deciding on local community involvement. When Uranus turns direct in your third house in February, it will activate your voice and ideas with electric clarity. you will then be ready after all this internal reflection to start creating content, blog, podcast, YouTube channel, or social media presence, where you can now start sharing unconventional perspectives on topics that you are passionate about. Now let's have a look at Jupiter. Jupiter is also, let's have a look, Jupiter here. It's also been retrograding the entire month in Cancer. Jupiter governs expansion, growth, wisdom, optimism, faith, abundance, higher learning, and the search for meaning. It represents our capacity for hope, generosity, philosophical understanding, and the principle that life is fundamentally benevolent. Jupiter shows where we seek to grow, what we believe in, how we find meaning, and our relationship with luck and opportunity. When a retrograde, Jupiter turns growth inward, developing internal wealth, wisdom, and faith rather than external expansion. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but it's being retrograding, so it's about internal expansion. What you're experiencing, what you can be experiencing, or all of us can be experiencing during this time, is internal emotional growth, or reviewing home and family matters, building internal security. The blessings are happening inside ourselves this month. So, in general, Jupiter, the most activated degrees this month are from 17 to 21 degrees, because Jupiter is retrograde from 21 to 17 degrees Cancer throughout January 2026. Until it will station direct, it will continue its retrograde motion during next month as well. So let's dive a little bit deeper into understanding Jupiter retrograde. When Jupiter, the planet of expansion, abundance, and wisdom, it's retrograde, the growth turns inward. Instead of external opportunities and blessings, you are experiencing internal expansion, physical deepening, emotional wisdom, spiritual growth. Jupiter in Cancer retrograde specifically means reviewing your emotional needs, your family relationships, your sense of home, and what truly makes you feel secure. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. This means Jupiter functions at its absolute best in Cancer. Even retrograde, Jupiter in Cancer brings blessings, but they're internal, private, and emotional rather than external and visible. This entire month is perfect for emotional healing, family reconciliation, inner work on security issues, and understanding what home truly means to you. Don't expect external expansion just yet. That comes after Jupiter goes direct in March. January is about internal emotional abundance. All month, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer brings internal blessings like emotional intelligence. This can see you understanding feelings deeply, becoming emotionally wiser. It can bring family healing, internal shifts in family relating, even without external conversations. It can bring home appreciation, gratitude for where you live. It can bring nurturing capacity, so you can become better at caring for self and others. It can bring you security, wisdom, understanding what truly creates security for you. It can be about feeling connected to your ancestral lineage, or in general, it's inner wealth, It's about your emotional abundance regardless of the externals. So use January for internal work. External manifestations comes in March when Jupiter goes direct. So Pisces, Jupiter for you is retrograde into your fifth house the entire month of January. This is your creativity sector, your romance, joy, self expression, your children, and authentic play. Jupiter retrograde in your creative sector brings internal expansion of joy and self expression. Whether you're Pisces rising, developing creative gifts privately, a Pisces sun, finding identity through cultivating joy, or a Pisces moon, emotionally fulfilled by creative exploration, you are growing through playing and creating without audience. Public performance awaits, creative development happens now. For example, you're creating, writing, painting, or making music privately without sharing it yet. The creative process is for you, not for external validation. You're exploring what brings you genuine joy rather than what you think should make you happy. If dating, you're reflecting on relationship patterns and what you actually want in romance versus what you have accepted. If you have children, you're developing your parenting philosophy through reflection and learning. The creative and romantic confidence you build internally now will express beautifully when Jupiter goes direct. Specifically, if you are 17 to 21 degree Pisces, as Jupiter is retrograding from 21 to 17, Jupiter is trining you, is trining your sun, your moon, your ascendant, or any other planet that you have in Pisces. This is your spiritual home, your emotional faith expansion. So very high level for a Pisces planet. If you have 17 to 21 degrees Pisces planets, you can definitely see manifestations in January towards your spiritual or experiences relating to your spiritual home, your family healing. That can happen now naturally. Your emotional wisdom is now through meditation. Your home is feeling sacred. Your creative inspiration is at home. So you will definitely see creative emotional expression, understanding joy emotionally, romance wisdom, childlike emotional abundance. For example, creative projects, processing emotions, or understanding romantic needs, joy coming from within, emotional playfulness returning. All these are possible manifestations for you during January when Jupiter continues its direct motion. Now, throughout the month, we're also having Saturn in Pisces at its final degrees. Saturn governs structure, discipline, responsibility, maturity, limitations, time, authority, and mastery through effort. It represents our relationship with reality, hard work, long term commitment, and the principle that growth requires patience and dedication. Saturn shows where we must mature, what we're building over time, and where we face our greatest tests. It's the wise teacher who demands excellence. It's the taskmaster who creates lasting achievement through disciplined effort. Saturn is now completing a 2.5 year journey through Pisces. and it will enter Aries next month. We are all now being asked to complete our spiritual projects, to master boundaries with compassion, and to release martyrdom patterns. And let's have a look at Pluto now. Pluto, again, all month long, it will be in Aquarius. Pluto governs transformation, death and rebirth, power, the unconscious, obsession, and the process of deep fundamental change. It represents what must die so something new can be born, where we experience power and powerlessness, and our capacity for profound psychological transformation. Pluto digs beneath the surface to expose truth, eliminates what's no longer viable, and catalyzes complete metamorphosis. It's the planet of evolution through crisis, of intensity through healing, and empowerment through facing our shadows. Transforming collective consciousness, technology, power structures throughout from 2026 to 2043. So the themes of Pluto in Aquarius in general is technology's role in society, power in networks, collective movements. So for you Pisces, Pluto is going to be in your 12th house while it's in Aquarius. Your spirituality, subconscious, hidden work, solitude, and collective unconscious house. Pluto transit through your hidden realm transforms you spiritually and psychologically over the next 19 years. Whether you're a Pisces rising, prepare for rebirth that comes next decade. A Pisces sun, finding identity through spiritual transformation. Or a Pisces moon, emotionally evolved by subconscious work, you are dissolving and transforming behind the scenes. The world may not see your transformation, but it is profound. For example, you'll start engaging in deep spiritual and psychological work, intensive therapy, shadow work, spiritual practices that access the subconscious, or creative work that channels collective unconscious. You might feel drawn to solitude, needing time to process profound internal transformation. Dreams become intense and revealing. You release old patterns, ancestral karma, and psychological structures that no longer serve. You might work behind the scenes on transformative projects or support others' journeys without recognition. This transit prepares you for Pluto entering your first house around 2043, when you will emerge completely transformed. Specifically, those of you in between 2 to 4 degrees Pisces will start feeling this more intensely during this month. You will definitely start seeing this multi-year spiritual transformation manifesting for you, subconscious clearing and releasing karma, shadow work in dreams, spiritual awakening through depth work, dreams reveal transformation, meditation practices deepening for you during this time, or psychological patterns releasing, karma clearing, and basically preparing for being a newborn person. And finally, the North and South Node. The North Node is in Pisces, and the South Node is in Virgo. The lunar nodes are the points where the moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic, marking our soul's evolutionary path. The North Node shows where we're growing, the new skills, the attitudes, and experiences we are meant to develop in this lifetime. The South Node represents our comfort zone, natural talents and past patterns that we must release to evolve. The nodes reveal our karmic direction, what we are moving toward, the North, and what we're moving away from, the South Node. They show the fundamental tension between comfortable habits and necessary growth. So the North Node is about surrender, compassion, creativity, and faith. The South Node is about releasing perfectionism, overanalysis, and control. Collectively, we are asked to trust more, control less, feel more, analyze less, due to the nodes being in Pisces and Virgo. That would be a general understanding. Now, Pisces, for you, your North Node is in your first house and your of self, and your South Node is in your seventh house in Virgo. So your evolution is from perfectionist partnership to spiritual self. Your soul's evolution involves releasing perfectionist focus on partners to embrace your spiritual identity, your own spiritual identity. Whether you're a Pisces rising, learning to be yourself fully, a Pisces sun, finding core identity through independence, or a Pisces moon, emotionally fulfilled by self nurturing, you're being called to prioritize your own path and release the need to perfect relationships or serve others endlessly. You are the priority now. For example, you're learning to stop obsessing over partnership dynamics and analyzing what others need, instead, investing in your own spiritual practice, your creative expression, and your personal development. You might spend less time accommodating partners and more time pursuing what calls to your soul: meditation, art, music, or simply being alone without needing to be useful to anyone. You're discovering that when you fully inhabit your own identity and follow your own spiritual path, relationship improve naturally because you're no longer trying to fix or perfect them. Your wholeness attracts wholeness. And that's January 2026 for you. Quick recap of your power dates. January 3rd, full moon emotions peak. January 18th, new moon, set your intentions. January 20th, Saturn Sextile Uranus, your golden window for sustainable change. January 26th, Neptune Enters Aries, once in 165 years. Feel that shift. January 30th, Uranus is preparing to move direct after months of retrograde. It changes finally move forward. If you want a full deep dive, 90 minutes plus covering your entire 2026, link is in the description and pinned in the comment. Drop your rising sign below, hit like if this helped, subscribe for February's forecast, and remember, the stars don't control you, they inform you. What you do with this energy is up to you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.